Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Spring 2019. We're back, and look, SANDBOX, it was a dominating victory in the end, but it was a better look for Jin Air than we've seen thus far. And look, you have to talk about these sort of things when you've got a team that's negative 11 points on the scoreboard, mirroring that of our plus 11 Griffin, who looked undefeatable.
And that's why I enjoyed this game. I'm sure a lot of people at home found it boring, but at the end of the day, we're in a league, right? We're tracking a league, you and I are broadcasting a league. It's 18 best of threes. And after every game, you come into the next one and say, where they're going up, where they're going down, and where are they going now? And for Jin Air, they knew their win condition. They were able to stifle SANDBOX for a long time, and ultimately, they lost the game. That part shouldn't be surprising, but at least there were building blocks and incremental things from this game that were better than before. And I think other people say, I just want to see them blown out and some cool moves, and I get that. But we saw cool stuff in our first series. And for a team that right now feels like it's going to be a 2-0 loss every time, there's something there for the Jin Air fans. And if they can find some proactivity in game number 2, who knows? There is maybe a chance that there's something in this series for Jin.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, the draft, they're going to switch over to the other sides here as well. Jin Air are going to be on the red side. They can now go for that counter pick option, and maybe CheonGo can demonstrate one of these are more interesting picks for us as well, and maybe not as much leniency on the side of banning things like the Yasuo, like the Yorick, as freely here for SANDBOX this time. And I'd be really excited to see Yorick make his way towards the top side, and even more excited to see the re-debut of the new and improved old version of the Infinity Edge for good old Yasuo.
I just want a Garen. I've been very clear about that. Give me the Garen.
Hey, and look, crit scaling on the E now going to be even better with the new and improved Infinity Edge.
There you go. Now finally a reason for Garen to hit the rift. I'm looking for whatever I can get, but I'm looking for a pick and ban, and I'm hoping we're getting one real soon.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we're not going to have as many issues getting into this one as well, and I can imagine that also our Jin Air players want to get through and say, look, we had a better game in game number 1. Let's actually win one in game number 2. They've done it before. It was against Gen G. Can they actually close out a series? It'll need to be 3 games, but Jin Air, if there's any team that's good at 3 games, it is this team historically.
And you know what I want as well, Atlas? If we're going to be a little bit less from the Garen Cosmos, I want an AD carry. We had none in the first game, and you got that mid-game where an AD carry was very clearly not there. No AD carry found, and thus the game probably went, I would say, 7 minutes longer than it would have in a similar game state if there was an AD carry. On the side of SANDBOX, you already mentioned this, SANDBOX jumping over to the red side. Are there any OPs you have to ban from Jin Air, or do you actually invest into the Yasuo like they did in game number 1?
Yeah. Well, they are going to be banning away a few different things. The Galio, certainly an opportunity here, as last time they had to ban the Cassiopeia. This time, not necessarily going to be the case, as they banned the Zoe on the blue side. Yasuo is still going to be opted in for here by SANDBOX, and we could potentially have the Snake Lady coming on out, unless we're going to see some interesting ghouls on the top side of the map.
You have multiple people who can play Cassiopeia, 2 mid laners, and Root has played it in solo queue as well. So you would imagine that is what they're fishing for. We'll see if that confirmation is in fact put out there. Yorick Mori also sparing a ban this time out, and maybe they'll take a page from SANDBOX's book. Find it a bit curious that they went for the Zoe ban in this case, but regardless, we'll be snapping open the Jace that we did like as a first pick for SANDBOX in game number 1.
Yeah, and the Urgot now being considered to run back the potential matchup towards the top side of the map if they want to do it the opposite way around. I wouldn't recommend it. Didn't seem to go so well for CheonGo last time. However, they can flex everything around. This Jace could be going in so many different places. And Lee Sin is going to be the decision here for OnFleek. So sticking to what he's good at, as worked in game number 1. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I always get baited in games like this when it is SANDBOX versus Jin Air, because I'm always looking for signs, right? I'm not quite Fox Mulder, but I'm really interested in seeing what's going on. And when I see these in every game, it's always, am I showing nothing or do I have no more? Is always the question I want to know, right? I'm going to give OnFleek the benefit of the doubt because this man deserves it. He's been a monster this season, but it seems like SANDBOX is just skimming from the top, just going for the super standard stuff in the draft so far.
And also, like, why would you do that as well? You so handily beat Jin Air in game number 1. Don't show anything new if you don't have to. Because now the Tahm Kench does come in here once again. Going to see it on the blue side as Joker was playing it in game number 1, and now it's going to be in the hands of Kellin, most likely. Ryze being looked at. Certainly would be even more flexibility. Can be going into 3 lanes, much like Jace being able to go into 4 if you call the jungle a lane.
Wait and see if they settle on it, but it seems very possible here. It's been a favorite pick of Grace in the past, and we'll be taking Ryze. And the other thing with Ryze is you can just hunt Vlad wherever he goes, because even in the duo lane, Ryze wins out on trades against Vlad very heavily.
And now SANDBOX have to round out what they're going to do in the first round before we go into the next bans. And you asked for an 80 carry. This could be time for one, as Ghost going back to an old favorite. But Cassiopeia being available at last pick on the red side first round. This would make a lot of sense. Don't know where the Snake Lady's going, but she could be going top lane.
You know what the fun thing is, though, Atlas? This might be a merry-go-round where Ryze is hunting Urgot, but Cassiopeia is hunting Ryze, and we could see even more flex picks come in and a procession of lanes that may or may not happen. Very interesting to see what assignments these teams are going for, but they played with my heart. They didn't lock in an 80 carry, and now I'm worried with the chance that we may have a second 80 carryless game.
We could, and of course that Cassiopeia could be going into Ghost's hands there as well. I mean, hunting the Ryze is certainly a thing you can do, but you can throw so many spanners in these works, and it's likely that we actually just see SANDBOX lock into support after this, and we still don't know moving into Jin Air's last couple of picks.
There's no winning lane for Urgot against the 2 that are available either right now, and that's a struggle. Urgot can lane against anything, but obviously it's different extents of what you want to take there. It's a losing matchup into both. Shen going to be banned, a Joker favorite. He brought it back into the meta. Haven't seen it this week, but has been a big popular one. Griffin playing tomorrow loves to play the Shen.
Nocturne going to be leaving the Rift, and then the Gragas is going to be the response here. Of course, a flex pick, something that Joker certainly likes on the bottom side of the map.
Probably want to take support here if you're SANDBOX to continue your flex, and Braum available, a blocker to some champions, and generally strong against Jace in particular, so...
Not bad into the Tahm Kench as well, so just playing for lane.
Want to continue your flexes and say, well, maybe an 80 carry, maybe not. And you can reevaluate after Jin Air chooses all 5 champions. That's why support is taken there, in case you're surprised that I was on the ball with that one. Jin Air, got to show us something. They can do kind of anything at this point. They haven't really got an identity with the 3 picks they have. Pick, poke, team fight, all that could happen.
Yep.
We're trying to learn what they want. Here he is, an Explorer. That was a big pick yesterday. The first 80 carry of the day is Ezreal. Don't look at his win rate in this particular game.
Oh, it's not exactly the bestest ever, but...
51% is decent, but when it's good, it's really good. Exactly. Is the Ezreal so far this season.
Also seems to be picked by a lot of teams that are going up against Griffin, and you don't do a lot of winning if that's the case. And Malrang, okay. Gonna go back to some early skirmishing, and man, we've been talking about different metas from the past, and Elise versus Lee Sin is bringing back some pretty hardcore memories.
They both kill each other really good. It's a fun matchup between Lee Sin and
whoever face checks dies,
Is it the second Q or is it the Cocoon? Whichever one hits, usually you know the winner. It seems like 80 carries on both sides. SANDBOX say, we got a lot of mid-range people, and now we move hella fast. They're going to take the Sivir here. Sivir increasingly being a matchup into this Ezreal. The worst case of this comp is Sivir wave clearing in mid and Jace and Ezreal poking her to death from range. The best case is you get a good start, and then OnFleek's even faster insecting you into a team fight.
And as far as pick comps are concerned, Jin Air have about everything that they need for it. I mean, Realm Warp and Abyssal Voyage on the one side, as well as Root being self-sufficient in the 80 carry role. There are a lot of different things that Jin Air can do here. Even their Siege feels very nice. Everything
other than true 5v5 fighting is very possible here.
Yeah.
The Sivir kind of undoes these mid-range pick champions who gets pseudo-tanky. But otherwise, they can rotate, they can pick, they can poke, they can do a lot of things. But the cans with Jin Air haven't been paid off very reliably. What will they do is the question we're going to ask, and what will this Elise actually bring for Malrang? It is 4-1. That includes a support game from Lehens, of course. Can we make sense of a lot of potential on the side of Jin Air? Do remember, it's CheonGo in the top lane on the Jace, not a recognized top laner, not Linderang, in precise.
Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing here is that Jace is a very popular mid lane champion as well, so CheonGo certainly would have a lot of time spent playing the champion. It's not like we're really going to expect him to not have mastery.
All I'll say about that is I feel like mid lane Jace plays really different to top lane Jace. You're abusing a lot of different things in the top lane, whether it's Klepto or not, and In the mid lane, it's much more about EQ wave clear, and the poke is a bit more unreliable. Let's wait and see, though. Jin Air GreenWings, a better game one. They'll want to level up further if they're to beat SANDBOX game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Here we are onto the Rift for our second game of our second series. SANDBOX fans getting ladder and ladder each day. Very fun to see our new teams.
Growing in number every day as well. Everyone likes a winner. And that's why whenever we see Jin Air filling up their side, we say hats off to you, sir. Not a lot of wins in Jin Air's history. We're not talking about this season, a roster that has never made it to a final in Korea when it comes to League of Legends. StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1, different thing. But StarCraft 2, the only remaining ex-Pro League team.
Exactly. Well, there was an interesting swap here as Grace is actually going to be piloting the Jace, is going to be in the right lane, and thankfully the rhyming name is actually going to be utilized.
You couldn't get the third rhyme. I was waiting for Grace, Jace. I was wondering where you were going with that.
It's going back to base? You know? Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, there is a lot of different options here. Thankfully, we didn't do it. Okay, Jin Air. Can they actually pilot this pick siege type composition, and will they be doing it with some Frost Fangs is the question. Root certainly has the opportunity to. Last time we saw the Ezreal today, didn't actually decide to go into anything like that.
Has there been a matchup that's changed a smaller amount but a noticeable amount more than Ryze versus Cassiopeia over the years? Where it's always been, it started being super favored one way and then incrementally, it's the matchup that's gone from, say, people like, this is just a dominant lane to 90-10 to 80-20. Like, it's changed in such small margins over the time. Was at one point a 50-50. I think Cassiopeia, even after the latest nerfs, is probably... Oh, I'm finding it hard to put a number on it right now. Maybe 70 in this lane. Yeah, because Ryze has been nerfed. I think the Ryze nerfs in mid lane against a ranged opponent are where it's most pronounced, and Ryze has never really been retuned up in a long, long time. But just such small adjustments over time, but still a matchup we see an evergreen, I guess we can call it.
Yeah, certainly one where Ryze sort of outlived Cassiopeia until she came back just recently in her super overtuned form. And the old Comet was changed so much. Malrang not going to be able to deny the Rift Scuttle on the bottom side, and that's double Scuttles coming in for OnFleek to start this one off.
And not a max damage Cassiopeia by any means. 100 damage shaved off Miasma at level 18, also nerfs to Q, and no Comet. It's Phase Rush here to try to step around some abilities in the mid to late game. So I think the damage fall-off will be noticeable here on the Cassio, and you know why that's okay? Because Sivr's next to her, and Sivir ain't got no problems with damage fall-off. So if you don't need to shoulder all the burden, why not just be carried by a Sivir in the late game and be stronger in the early to mid game at avoiding ganks?
The thing that I really like about this SANDBOX composition is it's going to be really hard for Jin Air to stop SANDBOX from brute forcing an engage against them. They've just got so many different gap close options, so many non-committal CC options, and can really follow up on basically anything that happens here as Malrang looking to try and put the screws in to Summit on the top side of the map. Grace
on 2 wards.
Yeah.
Remember, turrets do a lot of damage. This juggling is not an easy thing.
Going to be flashed out of the way of here is, okay, Summit just takes about 1 trillion damage. Grace didn't want to be tanking the turret, however, it doesn't matter. First blood going to Jin Air.
And the juggling act was even better than expected. Nicely done. A very ferocious gank in the top side. Dove and CheonGo.
Yeah,
bit of fighting. Trade.
Biffo in the mid lane, but still fantastic news for Jin Air, who have been able to get first bloods in the past. Feels like we're seeing the other side of the matchup. Doesn't matter about the nameplates. Jace versus Urgot feels pretty Jace favored.
This ends up being more damage than I first expected. The Cocoon misses, and yet this is kind of the worst case scenario, because even Elise doesn't take turret aggro, so it can't just repel, right? It goes on to Jace, but Urgot brittle. More brittle than we're used to after incremental nerfs, and nice game, Jin Air GreenWings.
Really nicely done, and a Cull now picked up for Summit. He is feeling the pressure, and
the opposite of a Cull.
Exactly, serrated Dirk already. In the back pocket of Grace, and a teleport to get him straight back into that lane as well, as he got shoved towards him by Summit. Malrang coming on over, and OnFleek does have a lot of vision available, and you can see SANDBOX actually having a great time towards the bottom side of the map. Root suffering at the hands of boomerangs.
It's all happening before OnFleek has kick, so that's good news. For Jin Air, they're continuing to go forward, and they seem to want to kill the hapless Urgot once more.
Yeah, CheonGo going to move all the way over there and gets, oh, I love this, the high-value ward.
Let's see if we need to give it a name. We'll find out later.
Yeah, I know. He's back.
Malrang actually uses Repel to get there faster. Okay, well, he's not going to be as good at turret tanking now, but didn't seem to matter before.
Exactly, he didn't need it
Here
last
we go.
time. And look, it worked with 2 dudes before,
Round
and now
2.
they've got 3 as Summit's just trying to deal with the minion wave. Disdain does come in, and eventually the spells are pressed, and the problems arise. Heal does come down as SANDBOX are dirty farming beyond the turret bot side. Still working very well top side of the map for Jin.
Turret plate, first of the game, does go in the bot lane to the Sivir lane. That is not something you plug and play. Something we could talk about. I imagine Jace will be able to copy that as well. Duncan on Summit, that's for sure. And Summit has been both an unsung and just a true hero.
Yeah.
For SANDBOX, a player who just watched on as Keen monopolized the starting spot for a FLICKR Freaks in 2018. He's certainly been anything but a passenger on SANDBOX's side, but on this Urgot, he's been held down in the early game.
He's been the weapon for SANDBOX in more ways than one in so many of their games. But OnFleek hasn't been giving him very much help up here on the top side, and the Urgot has certainly been made a bit of a problem here so far in the early game.
Nobody uses any of their skill shots until after the Rune Prison is in, so sadly couldn't buffer anything with the Disdain there. So he goes down. Nicely played by the side of Jin Air. Does it get them a turret plate? Crucially, it does not. And that's the only thing I'm worried about here is that's a whole lot of ganks to not get turret plates. And you might say, yes, they got 2 kills, but turret plates are almost as valuable at this point, Atlas, and they should be reining them in.
Yeah, very large amount of pings happening here on the top side of the map as Malrang doesn't actually know
the
where
right spot.
anyone is. Yeah, looking for this counter gank. Grace is going to move on up. Can we actually get the cocoon to land as, okay, there it is, but Disdain was already buffered and Summit is going to be able to create some distance. Double teleports coming in and they are definitely going to be followed as Shock Blast is good, but OnFleek too far away and we've suddenly got a party up here.
And that was far from Ships in the Night. That was a really fun next level. Malrang was really ahead of the jungle pathing there. The best moments of Malrang in this season have been the best moments of Jin Air. Yes, Grace had an MVP performance, but Malrang, I think, has had 3 or 4 games where he's done a lot of inspired stuff, and yet the game fell away from Jin Air. So,
and it's in this stage of the game as well. I mean, pre-10 minutes has been where Malrang has really been the best that we've seen so far of Jin Air.
Graves continue in mid. CheonGo at home here, even though it is, of course, a role swap based on the nominal starting positions.
Yep. There's a lot of mana on CheonGo as he's trying to do battle with Dove, who's going to theoretically just have the greatest time ever. Tamkench is hanging around over here, though, just to try and give him a little bit of a hand and help shove this wave forward.
Definitely feeling the pain of the experience decrease in the jungle that went live not too long ago. OnFleek still level 5 at 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Same story for Malrang, but power farming level 6 while your enemy jungler gets a lot of things done was something that was kind of removed from the game. Early experience is the same, but even when it comes to level 6, time has been shaved off.
Well, level 6 is now being hit as they steal away the blue buff over this side of the map. Grace coming on down, and they might be able to squeeze in onto OnFleek, but Kellin's not going to be able to get there in time, and OnFleek just wanders over a ward and gets himself to safety.
A very high-value blue buff to steal because it does swing the matchup that we were talking about in mid lane pretty significantly. Back timing will have to come in. CheonGo has no teleport, which is definitely going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Gerald's back, Papa Smithy.
It's not Gerald. Gerald's not in this game.
He's lost.
Gerald died.
I didn't see it.
So I was a school counselor before I was a caster. Some people know, and
oh god,
it's one of those things where you had to use plain language as a counselor. You can't dance around. You know, some of the serious things and emotions always are very high when it comes to being a teen and just what happens in school. So we've got to use real words here. Gerald's not coming back at us.
Can he be Gerald too?
No. Gerald had no descendants.
He didn't?
No.
Oh man, we're having a real existential crisis here now. I mean,
no, it's just you.
What did Gerald's life even mean, Papa Smithy?
It meant a lot. He did a lot of work in that game.
Oh man.
Lived a full life.
Well, I mean, I feel like this other ward has now been inspired by Gerald.
Okay, so you get to
Maybe
name.
this is Geraldine.
It's Geraldine.
Geraldine. There we go.
Farm bounty onto Sivir because of actual farming for once.
Yeah, thank goodness. 20 CS ahead And Ghost has been having a great time down here. Largely to do with farm, but also the turret plates will be playing a little bit of a part there as Ghost goes back home. See what he can actually purchase here. It's going to be Berserker's Greaves and actually has the BF Sword to augment more of an attack speed follow-up because he's just been smacking down on turrets and minions. I actually like this one.
There was a moment in game number 2 of this series where Jin Air had more turret plates than SANDBOX.
Hey.
Is it a micro victory? Yes.
Absolutely.
Will it affect the result? Maybe not. But still something that Jin Air can hold their hat high on.
Also, they might be able to grab another Rift Herald as well. They botched a few of these, but Dove throws out the miasma just to check things, and it's actually pretty intelligent. I don't think he knows that CheonGo, he's actually there in that bottom brush.
They really want this. They're teleporting onto a Spiderling to try to get it.
Yep, and that's Grace just making his way back towards the top side of the map as well, so was happy to use that teleport in order to get back up there. And that's going to guarantee it here for Jin Air. And at 11 minutes, they've still got a lot of time to play with, and this first 2 turret plates that we were talking about may not be the only ones that go down in their favor this game.
This could be a history-making moment. The best Rift Herald charge of Jin Air's year.
Oh, yeah.
You got 2 minutes, 3 minutes for just to hit a turret. Already, Bazinga Valley.
I'm ready for Malrang just to walk like beyond the minion wave and just press the button and then instantly get disdained by Summit.
You think disdain's the ability?
Yeah.
Somehow, I want him to be 4-hit passived by Braum during the charge.
Oh, that was a real cute one there from OnFleek. Lands
What
the Q.
other crazy ways could this happen?
What's the worst way?
I think 4-hit passive, literally autoed 3 times and a Q from Braum.
No, he turns around and uses it, and then Dove walks past him in petrifying gazing.
I know this sounds crazy, but man, some of those Rift Heralds have been
they've
good.
been
This
real
one's
bad.
charging.
There we go. And speaking of charging, it's happening on the bottom side of the map there as well. On the Hunt was actually utilized as Kellin finds his way back in, and that was a really weird situation. There goes Shelly. That's a bunch of money going over to Jin Air. As Grace and Malrang looking to punish Summit once again. At least has the purge as OnFleek will turn up here. Q is going to land, but has to respect the ability for Malrang to CC him up and also just go up into the sky if he wants to use the Resonating Strike.
Double flashes and everything off cooldown, so no reason to dive in. And this will be first turret going to Jin Air.
Yeah.
They're still winning Atlas.
That's a whole bunch of money. They're winning. 1,000 gold is the lead here for Jin Air. It's not a huge one, and the Civil Win condition is certainly something that SANDBOX still have on the table. But man, as far as a winning game for Jin Air looks like, this is looking much better than game number 1.
But to our viewers at home, remember, Sivir plus CS usually means victory. So that means we need to look at Jin Air to get more. They need to be playing the aggressors in this game after being on pure defense duty in game number 1. And this is, again, a team whose identity has largely been around delay rather than punish. So let's see how Jin Air find themselves in a very unfamiliar position, can find more. They need to keep going forward. If I see a 2-item Ezreal mid lane with Tahm Kench clearing out vision and potentially threatening a Abyssal Voyage, I'm going to be really happy. But if I see a mistake from ahead, which Jin Air have actually already done this season a couple of times,
actually, yeah.
then I'm not going to be too surprised. So for now, at least, until it happens, but I just want people to remember that Jin Air can't just put the brakes on to late game and hope for the best.
Yeah. And the last time we saw Sivir, I believe, was Deft on this patch, and he decided to go with the Essence Reaver that we were talking about. But this is going to be the Infinity Edge, most likely, coming in from Ghost, who's just built as much flat damage and attack speed as possible to rip through everything, as we illustrated earlier on.
It does a win more job better than Essence Reaver, so...
Yeah, also 2-item Power Spike feels a whole bunch better as well if you're going to go with something like the new and improved Static Shiv.
Which seems to fight.
Yeah, that's OnFleek getting a kill, Papa Smithy, as Kellin's just going to go down, rotating through the jungle.
I missed how that started, so I'm not sure why he was caught so away from his teammates. Usually Tahm Kench wants to be...
Catfish trying to get back to the river, Papa Smithy. I think so.
Were you saying he was catfishing and was caught?
Yeah, well, OnFleek was catfishing and doing a pretty good job there as well as Joker picks up the True Shot Barrage.
And that means turret damage comes in. No turret plates, of course, were after 14 minutes. Malrang shadowing.
Yeah,
but spotted.
Good vision available there from SANDBOX as Root takes 1 tag of the Boomerang Blade, but otherwise not too much. And what is the Jace going to actually do at this point? Oh, there's another pick. Ghost just going to go down. Joker can't offer the Unbreakable and actually has absolutely no mana. OnFleek comes in, but Joker, he went the wrong direction, and Malrang picks up a double.
Man, this Elise is popping off, and for once, OnFleek is behind the play, and Malrang is making the play. There's a big bounty. big one on the side of Jin Air. Have they ever had a 600 gold bounty or more?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe Grace in that single victory, but this is looking pretty good for the side of Jin Air GreenWings. They're going to get an Ocean Drake. Definitely wish this was an Infernal or a Mountain. They're not going to get that here, and things sliding into pace and place for the side of Jin Air. They continue to extend their lead.
Yeah, it's another Devour. Going to get Malrang out of there as Kellin returns to the map. Summit pushes this wave up, but has to be very careful as Jace has found himself a minion wave to take down.
Let's watch this one. Kellin goes for a walk and just straight up dies. So this is actually way less exciting than I perhaps hoped. There wasn't too much to criticize him for there. Just walked in and died. This is the part that's more interesting, and it also gives us time to wonder, what do you build now, Azilius? Do you go double Magic Pen? Because it is more expensive on this patch, but you're snowballing, and he is.
CheonGo's dead. Oh. Yeah, someone picked up that kill as well. This is the game of kills that happen way too fast for us to actually notice what they are, and maybe some replays happening in inopportune times.
Apparently, we had a picture-in-picture, but we were focused on what was happening elsewhere.
Trying to reset Summit's gold, I think, on the side of Jin.
This is actually an insanely strong juncture for Jin. I'm not convinced they've been more ahead at 15 minutes at any other game. They have double Magic Pen Elise and Ezreal 2 items. Everything is fit into place, and that means that with the Tahm Kench backup, you can just take over the enemy jungle. Who's going to contest this Elise? She kills you straight up from full while Ezreal's poking around. You don't feel great about still being in the bot lane as the Ezreal. I would love to see a lane swap here. We're going to get the replay. Let's see how it happened. I'm going to guess it was an E.
Yeah, it might actually be an ultimate. If Sustain does land, yeah. Puts him behind him, Dove yells at him, and he chomps him up in the grinder.
Again, less exciting than perhaps I was hoping for. I really, really wish that Ryze had just rolled down bot lane. He's got 2 items. He doesn't have a lot of health, so I guess he's turret diveable, but otherwise, I think Ezreal and Tahm would love to be in the duo lane. There's no reason for Ezreal to be wave clearing under his turret against a Sivir when his team around him is way ahead.
Yeah.
You should be wielding power, not going CS for CS with someone who outscales.
Well, we almost have Dove with a bounty as well. He's ticking up to 450. There we go. Finally there, just with the fact that he's been farming a lot better than CheonGo in the mid lane.
Again, they have 3 control wards defensively.
4. There's 4 down there.
That means there is literally no reason to be under turret. You either need to take this turret fast and show a Ryze turret dive threat, or get to the mid lane. And maybe the mid lane will happily happen, but I definitely don't want to see CheonGo here. He's here for now. They're pushing in, and that means there are definitely some gaps where SANDBOX could look for another pick.
Flash, as SANDBOX are very well aware of that and want to try and punish, but you can see Malrang, wherever he turns up, SANDBOX have to play very, very respectfully. This is not the lead that Jin Air wanted to snowball this into at close to 20 minutes into this game, though. They wanted to have a little bit more than this, as this has been a lot of the issues for Jin Air so far.
Yes, your Elise can turret dive, and you have a Tahm Kench to allow her to walk up with an item lead, but the turret is not low health. If the turret's low health here, you can poke them off, but it's Sivir. It's going to auto wave clear forever, and the turret will stay up. So this is where Jin Air is making a very big strategic mistake. They should not be wave clearing. They should be unleashing now 2-item Ezreal. They have a Seraph's Embrace on the rise. Now he can face check as well. He's very, very tanky with this.
Malrang is never going to be this strong ever again in this game as well. So the item timing that he just managed to pick up, he just got the double cloth armors, but having double pen as well as your runic echoes, it's when you want to be wielding him as a weapon and not, just using him to control bottom side of the map.
You remember how happy Coach Han was with the defense in game number 1?
Yeah.
Sadly, it's the reverse now. He's upset about the aggressiveness, and look, it's a team that hasn't been from in front very often, so you can understand why they're tripping up, but please, Ezreal, please come to the mid lane.
Well, at the moment, he's got about as much vision as he can possibly have on the bottom side of the map.
I guess Root didn't play RTSs because you're supposed to explore the map on the RTS, and the Prodigal Explorer is very, very much enjoying bot lane.
It's not really happening. He's like playing Civilization and hasn't actually sent any scouts out at all. He's just in his base, hasn't seen
what
that
happens then?
Like,
you get rushed, Atlas.
Yeah, there's like 5 golds just around the corner though, but he just has no idea.
Please don't lose your red buff when you're this far ahead, Jin Air.
Yeah, well, Ghost actually taking a lot of damage here as Root finally realizes that his buttons do damage. Definitely a good thing. On the hunt now on cooldown is a big deal.
Grace coming from top, trying to spread leads. 2 mid laners in mid. They're fighting for this lane. Who's this for? Actually, the answer is Ezreal, just so you guys know.
Well, Ghost is going to have his back stopped just by Jin Air being in the area, and you can see a lot of vision available. Oh, that's a pretty nice one. I don't know whether OnFleek actually got that.
No, he didn't. It was rude.
There we go.
He's still bot lane.
He's still getting so much, though, from bot lane. He did damage to Ghost and True Shot Barrage to Grom, Papa Smithy.
Look, now they have 2 wards down, and maybe they can kill this turret.
Well, Cocoon is going to land this time. It's going to be the counter coming in as Ghost does have the spell shield. Some autos come down. He's still not dead. As Malrang might actually fall from this. The flash in from OnFleek, but the Devour is beautifully timed. The Grinder, that Summit picking up 1, and the trade is for 2 so far. But 2 for 2 is not what you want as Jin Air at this stage of the game. With the lead that they had in the stun under Grace, means that SANDBOX take more.
I'm upset, Atlas.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd be matching your energy and shouting, but I'm upset because the problem there is not what happened, it's where it happened. They shouldn't be fighting there. The Ezreal should be mid lane.
Oh my goodness. Look, I was trying to forget that while I was getting excited about the action that was happening on the bottom side of the map. And do you know what happens here as well? Insult, mean injury, Papa Smithy, because they lose the bottom lane outer turret first. Oh, you can only laugh. There are some times when you have to look at a situation and go for the comedy as, okay, there's a Realm Warp as Ghost just stands on top of it because they know that they're happy to take any of the fights with the remaining people on the map. And the first good dragon goes to SANDBOX.
Just in case you want to know, the SANDBOX coach also very angry now because, again, 8 other teams would have beaten you in this game, especially in the early game.
Oh, yeah.
Watch the replay here, and Ghost actually is able to proc the passive here because he holds on to Spell Shot. I think he plays this really well.
Yeah, I did.
And that means that Malrang, remember that Malrang is ultra strong, doesn't get anything else done apart from taking down Ghost. Credit to the Tahm Kench Devour. It devours out of kick. As the R there is popped at the start, which means nothing happens, and, well, Joker died, I guess.
Oh, my goodness. These things happen a little bit too much in this particular game.
Maybe if we show more replays in Jin Air games, more people die.
Hey, that's true. This could create some excitement.
It's like when Valdez started apologizing for things to deal with some previous issues in our last season.
It's actually really cute from OnFleek there to get as many of those Krugs as he possibly could.
Rudisk exploring the map. He's found another part of the map.
Oh, my goodness.
It's mid.
He's going for round 2. He lost the first one. Now he's going for round 2. Can I get this turret first? The answer might actually be no.
Previously on this game that we're learning much about.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Joker backing in the wrong spot. Ooh, there's a lot of pals. CheonGo had a lot of pals up there towards
Not
the top
often
side.
is the enemy support flanked in 3 different directions.
Are we 3 for 3 on really boring replays?
Yeah.
We should put in a request to never actually have these replays shown and then just decide in our own minds exactly what happened. Like, Joker could have been doing something incredibly heroic. He's devouring, getting a cool flash off, even though he didn't actually flash as Joker. Okay. Taking more damage as he ghosts after the fact.
And he flashes away after Arcane shifting in. Yeah. That's another way you can play the game. Ghost himself has 2 items against Ezreal's 2 items. Sivers are better, by the way.
Yes, they certainly are, especially these particular 2 items. Playing towards your win conditions and playing towards how the game state is something that we talk about a lot and something that Ghost has done very well so far this game as far as the items.
So for a moment, I don't want to talk about this game. I'm hearing in the back of me Dongjun, one of the Korean casts, getting very loud and animated. I want to tell a story of when you and I went over to All-Star in 2016.
Yep.
If you remember, there was that really weird massive Poro game, the mini game.
Yes.
Where Dongjun was getting very angry that one of the teams didn't know that you had to feed the Poro. So he's getting angry analytically about a fun mode. Can you imagine how angry he is about this game?
Knowing him personally, yes, I absolutely
No doubt, he is seething with rage.
Oh, that's a really cute little stun as the Grinder is going to be procced very easily onto Grace. Not the player that Jin Air wanted to lose, as he almost buys 2 serrated Dirks out of frustration. Okay. And yeah, I think that Dongjun's even feeling worse now. Like, it's not getting better, Papa Smithy. I feel like we're not upgrading the situation, as in a turret bot lane is going to fall down. Oh, insult and injury are best friends at this stage.
Well, I need to look at the minimap now because I kind of glazed over with anger for 5 minutes.
You did do that.
If you look at the gold lead, it's 2,000 gold each SANDBOX. We're not commenting on the why, we're just commenting on the is.
Yep. At the moment, we've got to all be play-by-plays. Let's just talk about what's happening. Joker missed a Winter's Bite. Okay. Malrang's still elite.
Can we show some replays so some more kills happen?
No, they weren't great, Papa Smithy.
Item-wise, there's a lot going on the side of SANDBOX. They have double Black Cleaver and double Zeal, soon to be done by their Sivir, who, like we mentioned a couple of times now, is way ahead of the damage curve in this game.
Yeah.
This is not Essence Reaver, call me later. This is actually, I can battle right now, and actually is going to be able to out-damage Root way earlier than you would usually expect in the matchup.
Is he going to go rapid-fire cannon into the...
I think he could go PD here.
Yeah, he could
it's
go
not
PD.
a bad PD timing.
I like PD on Sivir just in general as well.
Especially when double flat pen has come out and it's Jace, Elise, Ryze, Ezreal. All these guys do a lot of damage, so I think it's fine either way. You could understand both, just because Sivir and her weird positioning, fighting with her tank line.
Yep. I just want to see a Stormrazor Papa Smithy. That's just what I want to see.
I mean, Stormrazor is not a bad fourth. I think here you probably go Bloodthirster.
Yeah, you could. Or even Mercurial Scimitar just to stop yourself from getting caught out. And against a pick comp makes a lot of sense.
You want some lifesteal somewhere is what we're talking about in this particular case.
Yeah.
But watching here, Grace in the back line. Very hard for true team fight to work.
Looking for the play. Oh, won't get the kick, but the denial's not quite good enough. Joker a little bit late on the flash and doesn't find the fissure. It was almost really cute from both sides, but no joy for either team.
Kellin's timings on the Devour have been really good in this game. Second time he has popped kick with the Devour. Awesome play there from the Tahm Kench. Not often we talk about Tahm Kench mechanics with any relevance. On the bot side.
Yeah, Summit launching his way forward is okay. Abyssal Voyage going to get cancelled there by Dove on the top side. You can retake your vision. It's going to be the Catfish falling down, and now Grace in trouble as well. The long-range grinder pulls him back halfway across the screen, and Summit's going to get some revenge against the Jace once again.
How many ranges was there on that particular chain?
Oh no, CheonGo. Are they going to be able to get the stun is the question. The answer is no, but not the punishment there onto SANDBOX. And what does SANDBOX like doing, Papa Smithy? They like going to Baron, and they're going to do so right now. Joker going to play goalie.
They got Cassiopeia Sivir. They delete Barons for breakfast. Goodbye, Baron.
It's already done, and they managed to pick up the Mountain Drake. It's all gone the wrong direction here for Jin Air. And if you're Malrang, do you feel like you just forgot how to win League of Legends? Like, at this point, I mean, we've all had these games where we feel like we did everything right and then it all goes wrong and you're like, how can I be better than this? After that early game, Malrang pressed all the buttons in the right ways, 4-1 and 3, but I still feel like there's almost no way they win this game from this point.
I definitely agree with you there, Atlas. It's one of those times where you lost 7 solo queue games and you're looking over the match history and even clicking on it and being like, I think I did my job here, and I know I didn't. This wasn't my best game, but, you know, I wasn't the worst player.
Yep.
Unfortunately, in hindsight, you know, when you're looking back on this period, I think there is some reality to that. Now, the reason why you can't just say 1v9, blah, 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 things like that, is the jungler has a big call on map movements in the early game, and someone should be putting up their hands and saying, why was Ezreal in the bot lane for so long, you know? Like, there was definitely the potential for other people to talk, and that is, like, the craziest range.
That was really, really
on the Fear Beyond Death, but I think if you don't talk on a top team, you can get away with it. I think when you're a bottom team, there's nothing to fall back on. You need to be ordering around your troops, and my guess is there wasn't too much ordering by any member, and while he's had a good game, there's still more you can be doing at any point.
And you have to talk about mentality as well. I mean, this is a Jin Air squad that hasn't tasted victory so far in 2019 at all. It really isn't they're not in a position where their mental game is going to have the confidence in order to take down a team like SANDBOX, who are well and truly in second place. They're a bunch of young guns that are really trying to prove themselves. As bottom side of the map, Summit could be in trouble as Grace is going to try and jump down on him. And yeah, Urgot, you are well and truly dead. Does flash into the base for a little while just to buy some time, as top side of the map and mid lane, they are going to be getting more, as SANDBOX will be able to break open the base here, as Jin Air just don't move fast enough.
It looks comical, but it actually ends up being more effective than I gave it first benefit for, because Ghost pops ult and they just get the minions and the champions there fast enough to almost just brute force down this inhibitor 4v5.
Yep, and almost able to get the inhibitor kill completely. Inhibitor turret going to go down in the mid lane there as well. Just feels like SANDBOX's players are worth 2 or 3 of what Jin are able to put down, because the fact that the 2v4, SANDBOX walking forward on the top side of the map. A bit of a chunk there onto OnFleek as the kick once again going to get popped, as Grace still very, very low. OnFleek going to survive for the moment as the Glacial Fissure goes completely wide. SANDBOX still, it doesn't matter. They're getting the structures that they want. 2 inhibitors. For the price of a Baron, you'll take it any day of the week.
It was 4v5 as well, Atlas, because remember, Summit only now respawns, has teleport to rejoin, but the job's done. They already got the 2 inhibitors with the Baron buff. That's a very high value. Baron buff, 3,200 bonus over what the enemy has earned. So the power play has been a pretty good one. The side of SANDBOX, and for all the good, Atlas, of Jin Air over the course of this series, you cannot add them together and find a victory. Seems like victories are too far, too lean. Watching the replay here, another being popped here. Kellin has been just popping off.
OnFleek has just had the saddest time because we saw Punch have such a clean Lee Sin performance. OnFleek's like, yes, now it's my turn. He's had his kick popped 3 times. That feels real bad.
You know what feels good though? Winning 2-0.
Yeah.
And, you know, seems very bang on in this particular game.
Papa, also Ghost was going to do what I was suggesting with the Mikura Scimitar and then decided instead to sell the Null Magic Mantle and do what you decided to do in the Bloodthirster.
I mean,
he listened to his Papa.
There you go. It's one way to go. I wish Jin Air would have listened to me.
Yeah.
They didn't, and they'll lose.
Well, actually, if you think about it, there is one positive that we can talk about here. If
I'm
Jin Air
listening.
put together both games 1 and 2, theoretically, this
throw
would
a
be
team
good.
fight in the late game and lose.
Remember, early game 2 was great. So mid game 1 was great because they managed to stall things out. If you added both of those together, you might have a win.
Is it possible that for an 18-0 we need a 0-18?
Maybe. Well, On the Hunt is going to be popped here as Jin Air moving ever closer towards that 0 and 18 as their base is just getting decimated. The last remaining inhibitor is going to go down as Root is playing frontline, but SANDBOX are just ignoring him. The Shock Blaster empowered, but just not looking as powerful as what we saw from Summit in game number 1. He's down to about half health. He's going to soak himself. This Cocoon, not too worried about anything at all right now. SANDBOX as Joker runs on forward. The Winter's Bite goes basically the wrong direction, but at this point it doesn't even matter. In goes OnFleek. No! The kick this time does register with the damage, but otherwise not too much. Petrifying Gaze. Stuns up 3. Jin Air moving towards their fountain. It's about the only safe place left. And even then, I'm not sure whether it is, as these boomerangs are going to be doing so much damage now.
TP.
Flanking teleport to come in as SANDBOX are relatively low. And it's Root that's in for the flank. I don't know whether that's exactly what you want, but he does manage to pick up one. Joker might be the next option here as Realm Warp is going to deliver some minions, some Spiderlings, a whole lot more. And Root's able to actually route them here as the empowered Shock Blast gets the Snake Lady, and now SANDBOX, they just need to try and run for the hills. This could actually be the ace as Joker does not have the flash. And oh god, the Winions! Grace, you can't be doing that right now, my friend. You have to be going towards this Nexus that is getting torn to shreds.
Good news, they're distracted, just like we were in this particular game. This is the turret defense. Did they pay the DLC to get extra strength?
MVP
Maybe they
Joker.
did. And Joker,
True
that
shot barrage. Oh, just the edge.
They killed Santa.
Oh no, that was the fattest true
What
shot
about
barrage.
their base?
What are you doing?
Run, why are you
with the Baron?
This has to be it. This is how they have to lose.
Oh my god. Oh, yep. Well, I guess as far as poignancy is concerned, there is no better way to go down here for Jin Air GreenWings. However, they are going to save it in the end. That was almost the most colossal mistake I have ever seen in the LCK.
Here goes!
He's running in. Can he get the autos to flash forward? And see you later, video game. Ghost has just enough health, and they win it. But good God, it ain't clean.
A game like that deserved an ending like that. Supreme awesomeness of the early game. You can't help but smile if you're the team of SANDBOX Gaming. The coach comes in, he'll hit them later, but for now he's laughing.
Summit. Look at this. He had the worst early game in his LCK career thus far, and yet still just gleeful giggling from the top lane position.
That is the ending this game deserved.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The ending it deserved was Jin Air starting Baron and then having Baron stop their backs, and then the minions just ending the game.
It would have been even better if they killed Baron as the base died.
We will get our first Baron, coach. We will. Just to deny that particular stat of Jin Air not being able to find any Barons so far in 2019.
A very sheepish bow, different to the Dumb One Gaming bow.
And you can see it on Summit's face. That smirk is still there.
Why did they leave the Winions. Like, how did that happen?
That's
what I need to know.
There are a lot of
We
questions.
saw them go to defend them.
Do you know what?
And then there was so many.
Did the
minions.
replays teach you nothing, Papa Smithy? Once you learn the reason, it's actually no fun anymore. It's no fun anymore. And that game, I want to know as little about what happened as possible, because it might actually infect our brains. Look at Joker's like, that play at the end there, definitely my biggest moment. Moving Jace away from the Nexus, and everybody else also chasing after him towards the Baron pit.
That was a game. Of all games, that was the most
and
fiesta game ever.
Of all players to yell at as well at this point in time. I know Malrang probably not getting yelled at that point, but it wouldn't be Malrang. He had a great early game on the Elise.
You know, Korea's had some banger games, and we've had some fiestas, but we didn't have Renegades versus Dignitas. And I feel like this game, number 2, was bringing it back. No one died and got executed, but let's watch this play. CheonGo's like, okay, I'm killing some of these minions. Yep, that's a good call.
I like that the Nexus is already dead in this replay.
He died.
Oh, no, that's what happened.
That's way better. You were a liar.
I was
this
a liar.
Is so much
this
better.
This is the first
he
replay
died
that made it better. Oh, no, and then everyone has to leave.
That is the Renegades versus Dignitas moment. It's what I asked for.
We did it.
We did
finally
it. It's
did
all
it.
us. We made this happen.
Oh, no.
Asking ye shall receive.
That's true. I mean, it's just so much worse.
Yes.
Better, but worse.
So much better. That is all this game needed. We did it. We believed, Atlas. We believed that it could be that, and it happened.
Your facetious happiness while your whole world burns around you is just a really sad thing to watch.
Nah, I'm good. My power rankings had these guys 9 and 10. I'm good.
Oh my god!
I'm so happy.
This is our second
Woo!
game in the league, Papa Smithy. They're the only team that have taken a game off Griffin so far.
It was just beautiful.
Well, I'm really glad that I've got a day off tomorrow because I need to watch that game off me for the next little while. But it certainly was entertaining. And honestly, Jin Air got a lot closer to being a decent team than we've seen so far. So there are definitely positive stories to be taken. However, I mean, like, that's as long as you cut the video after 10 minutes in game number 2.
What a game. Just beautiful.
Was that actually the worst League of Legends that we've seen in the LCK ever?
No.
It's got to be close.
It's up there.
I mean, there might have been like an MVP versus CheonGo game or something where something was worse, but I'm just still not sure whether it's ever been that bad. Has a team made a colossal mistake like that to that magnitude ever?
You got executed.
Linderung wouldn't have got executed.
Wait, that was Grace.
No, it wasn't. It was CheonGo.
Oh, CheonGo was on the rise?
Yeah, he was.
I forgot already.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, it wasn't what we thought at the very beginning. It didn't actually change the outcome of that match. Man.
What a great game. What a great game. He got executed. How could they next level the lack of rotation from the Ezreal? They managed it! Next level! This is why Korea, you know, China couldn't pull that off. China's had some fiestas.
Lack of rotation. Papa, they had Realm Warp and Abyssal Voyage on their team. Oh.
It's beautiful. Feel a lot of love, you know. I'm feeling a lot of love.
Well, I mean,
love for this game.
We've really got our heart in our sleeves in more ways than one. This is Valentine's Day. It's been a day about love and forgiveness, and I forgive you, Jin Air.
I loved your epic
okay.
play-by-play of ha 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 ha. That's what it deserved.
What else are you going to do?
I wanted more analysis.
Well, I mean, you guys have got to get your votes out there. The Penta needs to be the super minions for rank 1 play. Oh my goodness. This is actually one of the sickest Fear Beyond Death that we've seen so far. Wait for it. Summit getting on over there. Does land it onto Grace. Picks the gap. Boom.
I like to think this game was for the love of League of Legends. It's a day of loving. It's Valentine's Day. I don't know who Cupid's arrow was shot at. I'm pretty sure he missed, like most of the macro in this game. But, you know?
Hit Ghost there because Ghost survived for so much longer than he should have. Malrang basically dead. Just from the Braum damage at the end, OnFleek gets denied. Oh man, we were talking about Blue Blaze. He's got blue feet this whole game. Just wants to kick someone.
Blue Rage, if you will.
Yeah, it didn't actually have any kicks work successfully, I don't think.
Here we go.
Damage register, and that's it.
Epic ending moments of this game as Ghost says, I'm going to finish it.
Who gets the MVP? Super Minions?
He didn't even try to pop a skill shot. He's like, I'm ending it now.
Yep, he just uses his spell shield, and that's going to be that. A lot of damage coming out of the Ezreal, but who cares? That game made absolutely no sense in so many different ways. Jin Air GreenWings had one of their best early games that we've seen so far. You can see that gold graph fell off a cliff in the late game.
Could any other team in the world only get one turret after that early game? They lost by 10 turrets!
They got like probably all of the turret plates that they've got in 2019 in this game and still only got one turret.
Just beautiful. Next level. This is what people watch Korea for.
Imagine if this was our first series of the day. How would you transition into casting another series after this? I'm not entirely sure. That was... If this was LS, I'd be once again alone at this point in time. So thanks for staying with me, Papa Smithy. I know that your thoughts were certainly moving in that direction also after the Fiesta at the end of that game.
I just love the LCK. What can I say? It's my drug.
It's one hell of a drug, Papa Smithy.
I think I took a strong hit this time. Oh boy.
Oh, can you do anything more than just have a giggle? As Dove is going to pick up the MVP for some reason. No, I don't know who I'd give it to. I'd probably give it to Summit because of that one long-range Fear Beyond Death, but I guess he fed in the early game. And this was a good play, even though it was off-screen.
Wait, are we going to come back to some kills? We're
seeing
replays. There's a good chance.
We got this replay 3 times because it was one hell of a sick Fear Beyond Death. And that was one play. Okay. Maybe Dove got it because we wanted to talk to Dove.
Yeah.
As we're going to throw it to Jisun to see whether anybody else can make sense of that game.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Season with today's last feature translation, joined by Summit and Dove from SANDBOX Gaming. Once again, we're gonna be giving away this Akali snapback to the MVP winners. And we have another present. It's a chocolate. Because today's Valentine's Day. Those are in heart shapes. It was a gift for all the fans at the stadium, so I hope you guys also enjoyed this chocolate. So let's move on to the interview. Summit, how do you feel? Since we lost the Griffin series, we were a bit in the downfall, but it's really happy that we got to bounce back and pick up the win. Did you really feel like it was a downfall? Yeah, our winning streak kind of stopped. So that was our first loss, so we learned how to kind of cope with it. So yeah, I think we had a little bit of a downfall. Dove, this is your first MVP interview. Can you say hi to the fans? Hi, this is Dove. This is my first MVP interview. Feels really good. This is my first time getting an MVP point, so this Jin Air series will be in my memory forever. I hope to see you often here on the stage. Dove, you have been very solid and consistent in the mid lane. However, maybe there were some other outstanding players in different lanes in SANDBOX Gaming. Weren't you really sad about it? I was more like a supportive player, so I think other players were deserving the MVPs. It's really happy to see you on stage finally for the MVP interview, and let's move on to game 1. CheonGo was on top lane, and game 2, Grace was on top lane. There were a lot of lane swaps. Yeah, I didn't expect that at all, so I was a bit frustrated, but we did kind of counterplayed it well, so it was okay. I think game 1 you taught CheonGo a lesson what a top lane is. I think CheonGo was doing quite well in terms of playing champions and mechanics, but I think he lacked some information about playing top lane, so it wasn't a hard match for me. But game 2, you were a little bit struggling. Was Grace a good top laner? I think he's above the average top laners. Yeah, that's why I had some hard times. Today, actually, SANDBOX didn't really try any of the no farm klepto meta. I mean, we did not try it, but we were fully ready to how to counterplay this. We knew how to counterplay this for sure, so we weren't really worried. Then let's move on to game 2. Yeah, as I told before, you were having a little bit of hard time in the top lane. So how did you and other players kind of communicate to cope up with the game and kind of bounce back? So I was just keep getting beaten by the players, so I was expecting the bottom laners to carry the game, so it actually did ended up Dove carrying the game. Did you think that this is time for you to shine? Yeah, I felt like other players were having a bit of a struggle, so I tried a little bit harder than I usually do. So Cassiopeia actually doesn't really have a very high win rate, but you are on 2-0 score so far. Well, I think it's a champion that kind of needs a lot of experiments and item builds. So I tried some different builds on Cassiopeia. That's why I was able to pull up some great results today. Is there any tips for playing in it? You have to land your Q. If you land your Q, it's really strong. We have to go through this highlight. The end of game 2. Ghost was rushing to the base, but before Rise was executed by the super minions. We're expecting more of a minion situation, so what was going on over there exactly? We were actually zoning out, we were really rushing a lot, but Ghost told us, let me give it a try. Just TP, then ran, and auto, then game ended. What did Ghost say at the moment exactly? Nothing special. I'll just try. That was it. And he actually pulled that off. Today, it was a very impressive match, and you have 2 matches left for the first round. How are we going to prepare for those? If we win, it's going to be another winning streak for us, so I'm going to make sure to pull that off. I'll be looking forward to your performance. And Dove, I'm going to make that winning streak happen, for sure. So, to wrap up today's interview, we need another K-heart to the camera to celebrate the Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, fans. This was an adorable heart for the fans out there. Is there any message for them? I love you or something? Thank you. What about I love you? Thank you a lot. What about you, Summit? Dear my fans, thank you. That kind of reflects our love to the fans. So this will wrap up today's interview with Summit and Dove from SANDBOX Gaming. And fans, we love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Ji-san, and don't worry, LCK fans, we definitely love you, and we're not afraid to say it. Papa Smithy is definitely not afraid to show it, as he's outdone himself with the amount of hearts that he has available for you guys.
Well, we run out of games, so all the hearts have to be concentrated now. Some hearts go out to Jin Air. Gonna be an interesting VOD review for sure on that particular game.
Yeah.
Some guffaws around, but probably not too many in the Jin Air camp. Another 2-0 loss. The cementing of what has been a 0-7 start for them as well. But guys, that's all we have for today. How could we play another game after that one? But We come back tomorrow, 5 days a week, baby. Korean League of Legends.
Yep, exactly right. I believe KT versus Griffin is going to be happening tomorrow, so that is certainly an exciting one to look out for. Brendan Valdez will be taking you through that because I'll need some time off to repair my brain after this last video game encounter that we just had back on Sunday, of course. This is what it means for the standings. It is a 4-point gap between SANDBOX and SKT. After SANDBOX only losing to Griffin so far in the first round robin with only a couple of games to go.
Hope the VOD review is sobering for SANDBOX. There was actually a lot of kind of worrying signs in that particular one.
Oh, yeah.
For SANDBOX Gaming, they will need to show...
If it was any other team, exactly. It feels like it would have been a very different story.
They would definitely have lost Game 2 to 8 other teams in the league, but it wasn't going to happen that time. So, they will need to be better, whoever their opponent is, the remainder of this week. Haven't seen Griffin yet this week. They'll be back tomorrow against KT Rolster. A rematch of the LCK Summer Final, but obviously in a very different way as KT kind of been up and down. And then Hanwha Life Esports versus Kingzone.
Another
should be
really
a competitive one,
matchup.
right?
Yeah, that's a huge one, in fact, because Hanwha Life actually proving themselves just recently in Kingzone, really giving SKT a run for their money. That was a very exciting matchup that we had yesterday, so definitely stick around for both of our matches tomorrow because they will be a very different story to the excitement that ensued in our match today. But guys, that is going to be it for us tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to Jin Air for giving us such an entertaining finish. But that's enough from us for tonight. It'll be Valdez and Papa Smithy tomorrow. Good night.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, all with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come true. 'Cause this is the beginning.